Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today for this session on three different ideas that you can try with your own students during online music lessons. And these ideas will leverage Newzik, which is a tool that I will be presenting briefly before we get on to these ideas, and that you will have the opportunity to try for free until the end of the school year with as many students and colleagues as you want. More on this at the end of the session. So I know Joseph told me that he can hear me fine, but if anyone has any trouble hearing me, please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just assume that this is good. So maybe I'll start by introducing myself a little bit. My name is Paul Leverger. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Newzik. But besides being a marketer, I'm also a musician myself. Right now, I'm in my little home studio here in Paris, France, and I'm very happy to be able to have this overseas session, I guess, with you guys. So again, thank you very much for joining me. A little bit, some words about Newzik and what it is. So Newzik is a company that we started in 2016. And at first, the idea was to provide a better way for professional musicians to work on their scores, especially within music ensembles, orchestras, opera houses, by turning their paper scores into digital scores, and by adding a lot of features to what was at first an app and now is also a web version. By adding a lot of features in terms of collaborating with other musicians, adding interactivity to the scores by having audio and video, being able to change the speed of these audio tracks, add MIDI, and add actually lots and lots of different things. It's a very dense product that I could speak about for hours, but I guess the three main reasons why people start using digital scores and love music is because it lets them have all their scores at any time with them, just in their tablet, or access their entire library from any computer just by logging into their Newzik account. So that would be the first reason. The second reason is really that digital scores are more practical in a way when you're an everyday musician, when you perform every day or rehearse. Because with digital scores, you can automate your page turns. You can, even if it's not automatic, you can turn pages using a foot pedal. So you don't have to let go of your instrument. You can annotate and use different colors. You can share these annotations with other musicians in real times, which is super handy for orchestras. So I'm not going to spend too much time explaining all the benefits of digital scores. We have a lot of content explaining this over at our website if you're interested. But we're not here to talk about orchestras or professional musicians. We are here to focus on teaching with music and teaching with digital scores. Last year, at the end of last year, we launched a new offer called Newzik Education, which is the same offer essentially that the one we offer to top orchestras. So it has all the features, all the customer support, everything that you can get in Newzik at a very discounted price. Actually, for now it's free, and it will be a yearly license of $5 per user in the end. So it makes it quite affordable to use with the kids that you teach, and to use at a music school. And this is really what we are trying to intend here, because we realize that all this technology that we developed for professionals could actually be very useful for teachers as well. So Newzik Education is basically a complete web and iOS collaborative ecosystem where you can teach music, you can conduct ensemble classes, and you can just enjoy playing with digital scores. So what can you do with it? with music education you can organize all your I said ensemble scores here, but basically any score that you want, and all your teaching material and lessons on the platform, and from the system all this material is saved to the Newzik cloud. So the Newzik cloud is just how we call our server. And the reason why this is important is because first it can let you access this material from any device just by logging in to your Newzik account. So it's very practical if you're traveling to another school, or you teach lessons at the kid's house or something, or just if you don't have your own computer with you or your own iPad, you can just take any other computer or tablet and log in to Newzik to get all your teaching material. The second reason why it's important is because from the moment that your teaching material is saved to the Newzik cloud, it's safe. You will never lose it. You will never have trouble finding it, and you can send it in just one click to anyone that you want, which makes it very very practical as a software for music schools, because different teachers can share their the exercises that they create with one another. So other things that you can do maybe on a more practical aspect is you can add audio and video to any score or any exercise just to create interactive material. And this is actually the first thing that we will be focusing on during this session. Then it's a very convenient way to share scores and exercises with an entire class or an entire school for that matter. More on this later in the session. With Newzik, you can keep track of your students from anywhere because you are able to interact live with them, but also in sort of an asynchronous manner. And yes, this was also my kind of my fifth point, is really about interacting and this extra interactivity that you can add to scores thanks to technology, basically. So I just want to extend an invitation. If you haven't already, you can go to our website, newzik.com/education, and you can sign up for a free trial until the end of the school year. And all of your colleagues and students can join as well. I'm seeing that there's already quite some time that has passed. Sorry for this. So I'm just going to rush into this. But for all the people who tuned in after the beginning of this session, I will be sending the replay of the session as well as the underlying documents. So if there's any question or anything unclear, you will be able to get more information about it in this document. All right, let's get on to it. So the first idea that I want to discuss with you today is how you can create interactive exercises very easily using Newzik, especially the web version, but also the app. So what are we going to create with this idea? We are going to create an exercise where your students can see the score and interact with it. They can turn pages, they can read it, they can perform it, but at the same time they're able to get your explanations on how to perform not only the entire piece, but maybe just a single portion of it. And I said here in under 10 minutes, this is not a joke. It's actually super quick and easy to do. So how does it work? What you will need first a computer with a microphone. So it can be your built-in microphone or any external microphone if you want. Or you could also use your iPad or iPhone with the Newzik app. Then you will need obviously Newzik Web or the Newzik app. More on why it's better with the app at the end of this demonstration. You will need some form of music notation, so it can be like the score that you want your students to perform, and you will need your instrument, or if you don't teach instrumental classes, you don't even need this. You just need to be able to demonstrate this exercise. So how does it work? First, you will need, these are all the steps, and I will go through all of them right afterwards, but just to give you an overview. First, you will need to upload the score into your Newzik library. Then it will be about recording a video of yourself explaining the purpose of the exercise, what the kids have to do with it, and or performing the exercise yourself. Then you will add these videos to the scores. You will have the possibility to actually synchronize all this material with the score to get automatic page turns, for instance. And then you will be able to share this interactive material with your class. So how does it work? The first step is simply about getting into the platform. So you will need to import your exercises. You can do this from the web. So this is what the platform, the actual interface will look like when you're in there. So you can just click on the plus button and click on Add File and browse your local computer. Or you can do this in the app as well. Make sure you go into this section in the import section, and then you have several ways of getting your music into the app. You have a built-in scanner, which is really handy if you have a paper book, like a method book or different exercises, and you want to quickly import them into the app and make a digital version of it, if you will. Then you have all sorts of Google Drive or similar other platforms. So we have Dropbox, and actually in the file option, Apple has made it very easy for you to connect to any system that you may be using, really. So it's really easy to import scores into Newzik. Once your scores are in Newzik, you will have to record yourself to give your students some explanation on how to perform these exercises. So the one thing that is really important to understand here, and this is actually why it's so quick to make this in Newzik compared to editing a full video and uploading this to YouTube, is that you don't actually need an entire video of the exercise. You don't need to record yourself explaining the exercise, then switch to a different camera, take another angle, perform the first part, etc., and then spend some time in video editing software to join all these pieces together. It's completely fine to upload several videos to the score, and it might actually be even better and more usable for kids in the end results. So I'm just going to go a bit quick over this, but you will find in this document here several options. You can record yourself, record the kinds of videos that you will need for this. So some for Mac, some for Windows. You can use Zoom or Teams or any other software that you want. And probably the best option is just to use the camera of your phone. It doesn't matter if it's like an iPhone or something. It's just that phones nowadays have a much better camera than you get on your computer. To make it even better, you can use an external microphone like I'm doing at the moment, just to get a better result when recording. And you can also maybe use a tripod for your tablet to make sure that it's stable while you record these exercises. And this also makes it easier to get a better angle if you're performing like a piano or any other thing like this. So now you have your score into Newzik Web and you have a video. All you need to do is add this video to the score. So to do this from the web, you will, when you're in the score view, you will get the option to add different files. So you can upload files from your local computer, but you can also add a video directly from YouTube. So it really doesn't even have to be your video performing the score. If there's some teaching video that you like on YouTube and that you want to use, you can actually add this directly to the score that you may have, and this makes the entire process even quicker. From the app, what you can do is you can, from the score view as well, this will be located in the media folder here, and then you have the little plus and you have several options, including YouTube and browsing your local files as well to add the video. So when you have the video, you're basically done with this first ID. What this lets you do from the web when you send this to your students is that first, you will be able to move the video anywhere you want on the screen, so it's not getting in the way of the score. Actually, when you first click on the video to read it, it will be located here in the side panel, but if you want to have it closer to the music notation, you can move it on the score. In the app, this is what it will look like. The video will take the first portion of the screen, and then you will have kind of half the score underneath it. So if you know that your students will be using the app and you use notation software to create your exercises, this might be something you want to think about in advance and optimize the notation for this end display. At the beginning of this idea, I was saying that you don't need a full video, and it might actually be better to break down an exercise into several smaller portions. This is what it will look like then in Newzik Web. You will have different media files available here, and you can actually have one video go over the first part of the exercise. So this is a method book for 25 exercises for the saxophone. So this way you could have one video for each exercise and maybe an introduction video just to explain the purpose of these exercises or what is required from the students. Maybe you want them to record their own video of a performance and add it to the score here so you can see it in real time as well. So this kind of things, it's really up to you to adapt this idea to your own class and the specifics of the class and the level that you may be teaching. But basically, in under 10 minutes, you have an even more interactive result than a teaching video that you would have on YouTube, and it requires absolutely no equipment or video editing skill in itself. So it's super easy to do for anyone, and it's something that I see lots of teachers do with Newzik. So I really wanted to start with explaining this first idea. You can actually go even better with this, and you can synchronize the video with the score, as I was saying. So in the app, you will see the synchronization option in the features menu here. And you will be able, once you started recording, to just listen to the playback and see the video and just turn pages when they're supposed to turn. And this will record this automation, and the next time you play the track, pages will turn by themselves. It's super easy and super quick to do. You can go even further with the app because you can actually transpose this material and the audio tracks that you have. So you can change semitones, like transpose them 4 semitones up to 2 steps up without affecting the tempo. And you can do it the other way around as well. You can slow down the piece maybe to make it easier to practice at first without changing the key. So in very easily, you can come up with a very interesting exercise for kids to practice and to help them progress. So the final step is simply to share all these files with your class. So you can do this individually from the web and from the app. So just by either copying a link and sending them this link from any channel that you want. You also have other options, including email and messenger, and we will be adding more options in the future. But the more advanced way to do this is to use what we call a project. So what is a project? It's basically the most interesting feature, I guess, of Newzik. It's kind of a collaborative space where everything you do is shared in real time with other users. So if you add a score to a project, all the members of this project get it in real time. So when you first create the project, you will need to send one email to your class so they have the link and they can join this project. And from this point on, you don't have to send a single email anymore. If you want to add a piece to a project, you can do it very easily from the interface. Just add it to the project, everyone gets it. If you add annotations to a score in the app to a score as in a project, everybody will be able to see it. If you record yourself and add a video to a project, everybody gets it. So it makes projects are really an incredible thing for music teachers, because this is where you can really interact live with other users, and it can be kind of the working space for your class. So I'm gonna move on quickly, just because time is flying, to the second ID. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I'll take some time at the end of the conference to answer them. The second ID is how you can record a collaborative piece with kids. So now I say rhythmic here, but it doesn't actually have to be rhythmic. It makes it easier if it's just rhythm, but we'll see why. So what you will need for this is same thing. Just a computer and a built-in microphone is fine. If you have more equipment, you'll get a better result, obviously, but this is fine. You will need a project in Newzik, and you will need exercise notation. My advice is to have the different parts notated in several layers, so each kit can be responsible for one layer of the final piece. Ideally, you also want to provide kids with a click track to perform these exercises, at least for the first bar, just to make it easier for them to know when they have to start. And also, you will need a percussion instrument. Or really any kind of funny sounding object. And this is a good opportunity maybe for younger students to make this even more interesting. You can send them on a scavenger hunt in their kitchen, for instance, and ask them to find any funny sounding instrument. So how do you do this with Newzik? You upload the exercise and the click track into your project in Newzik Web. You assign a part to each student. So say student A is responsible for the bass drum of the song, and student B is responsible for the snare or the claps or these kind of things. And this is actually the core of this exercise, is that then you will have different students record their parts successively on top of each other. So basically you ask them to overdub a previous take. This is why it's really important that you do not use headphones for this exercise. This may be a bit strange because most exercises such as virtual choirs and everything, the first thing that people tell you when you try to achieve this is that you need to use headphones. For this exercise, you don't. You want the original audio to bleed into the microphone to make it work. And then you just go on until the end and record all the different parts until you can enjoy the final results. So how does it work? I'm just going to rush there. It's the same as for ID number 1. You just need to get all the material into Newzik Web and upload it to a project. Then you will have the notation. This is the kind of notation that was talking about, with different parts making up the final piece. So this is an example of We Will Rock You for 4 students or 4 groups of students. And also you will want to provide a click track. Don't forget this. This will make it easier for everyone. What you do then is that you will ask the first student to record the first part. So what they need to do is click on the record button here and then start the track. You can do this. So it will be the click track for the first part. Once the first student has finished recording their track, everybody will see this take live. So it will appear on the screen of any people within the class. That's when the second student can join in and overdub the first take. So how do they do this? They simply hit the record button, make sure they don't use headphones again. And once at the end of the countdown here, they will just need to start playing the first take. What will happen is that the audio of the first take they will hear it, but it will be picked up by their microphone, and they can then record their second part on top of it. So when they're done, you will have take 2 with the take 1 in the background, and you can do this for for as many tracks as you have in the piece, basically. So to go further with this idea, as I said, it's a good idea to use different kinds of funny sounding objects. So this is something that I found in 3 minutes in my own kitchen. So really, any kind of object can be a percussion instrument. So and that's what it's so easy and fun to organize with kids. Um, Also, the reason why I'm saying that this should be some form of rhythm based piece is because with rhythm it's it's the different levels of the different tracks matter a bit less than with melodic instruments, so the end result will be more enjoyable right away. But you don't actually have to it doesn't have to be rhythm if you want. It just takes a bit more trial and errors to get the right levels. um, if you do this because it's just audio and there's no video with it, you can actually also use this opportunity to have the different students guess what object has been used. And this might sound a bit silly, but it's actually a very good training exercise to maybe understand what kind of sound acts better as a replacement for a certain part. So, what object would be suited for a shaker part, for instance, or a snare or bass drum? Um, so really, you have many opportunities to use this. Also, it's very fun because if you do this with different groups of students, each group will have their distinct sound. So the piece will actually not be the same. The end result will not be the same for every group. Um, so as I was saying, you can do this with melodic exercises as well, but you have to find the right distance between your microphone and the student that performs it just to get the levels right. For now, because this is a little bit of teasing, we are working on a multi-track mixer that will be integrated to Newzik in both in the app and in Newzik Web. So quite soon it will be much easier to actually perform this exercise only within music, as well with melodic instruments or with a choir. So you could have children sing and do the same and apply the same concept for the exercise. So idea number 3, and this is the big one. I've been teasing it a little bit in my article. And what I want to do here is focus less on music actually, and tell you a bit more about how you can more easily create kind of a virtual concert, virtual orchestra, virtual choir, and make this really easy. So before we get started, the one thing that I want to mention is that this has become kind of the gold standard for like online classes, or it's something that lots of teachers have asked me, like, is there a simple way to do this, because it's really hard and it usually takes both recording skills and video editing skills, and I just want to give you kind of a simpler way you can do this. So it will not be like a professional grade result, but it's actually something that you need very little skills to set up, that you can do with kids quite easily, and that is rather quick to do. And the key to making this simple is by separating the different concerns that are involved in making a virtual. I'm just going to call this a virtual choir, but it doesn't have to be a choir really. So what I mean by this is that first we will make the audio recordings. We will mix down the audio, and you'll see I have a little trick for this by using the click track to line up the different tracks very easily. And then, and only then, we will record the final video, the gallery view. And for this, we will use Zoom, Teams, or any other video conferencing software that you may be using. And this will just be basically a dummy recording where everybody will be on mute. They will all listen to the final audio and they will mimic everything. But by doing this and separating the different steps, it's actually much quicker and much easier to get to a similar result as for a more professional virtual concert. So, the first thing that I want to emphasize here is that you will need to provide a click track for this to work. Really, like, this is not optional this time. It might actually be better to leave some empty space at the beginning of a piece, and you will include these empty bars in the click track. So the idea is to have like 4 bars of click first, and only then the music will start. So what you will need, same thing, just like the kind of the shopping list. You will need for each student a computer, a microphone, and a camera. You will need headphones for everyone, and you will also need them to have an easy way to plug these headphones into their microphone after they started the recording, and we'll see why in just a moment. Then you will need a project in Newzik, and now, to be honest, you could actually do this third ID without Newzik, but it just makes everything much more simple. You will need some form of video conferencing software, so it can be Zoom or any other software, and you will need either a professional DAW like Logic Pro or Ableton Live, or basically just Audacity. You will need some form of software to mix down the different tracks. But what you don't need is actual editing skills, and we'll see why in just a minute. You will need the notation, you will need to provide a click track, and you will need some time to mix down the audio before you can go and record the video itself. So how does it work? And I don't have any visuals here, I just want to be focused on the underlying idea. This first step, and actually maybe we can call this step 0, is that as the conductor for the performance, you as the teacher, you want to record a video of yourself conducting the performance. And for this, you can use any recording of the piece you want to mimic. So it's easier if it's not an original piece. It can be an original piece if you're able to maybe export the audio from your notation software or any kind of reference track. Really is all you need. So you record yourself as you conduct like virtually the performance, and you add this in Newzik as a video. So it's basically the first idea that we discussed. You leverage this, you do this idea, and you provide your students with this exercise. You can add this into a project, so it's easy for everyone to get and see. And if they have any question, they will be able to add this as a comment on the score, and you can have some form of live interaction when you provide the exercise. From this point, you have each student practice the exercise first, just making sure that they are able to perform it in one take for the entire piece. This is quite important. So it may be a class project that you can organize over a week. So beginning of the week, you provide them with the exercise. They have this homework that they have to perform and practice the exercise over the week, and then they will record their parts. So for this, it's actually better if you don't use Newzik for the moment until we add this multi-track audio recorder. But once we add this, it will be very easy to do this inside the software itself. So for now, my recommendation is to use just Audacity, just because it's actually a really good software to record and edit audio, and it's 100% free. So you can just have your students download it to their computer and use this. And the key here is that they need to start without the headphones and perform and leave it. Sorry, I'm going to start again. So they need what you need for the end result is to have the first clicks of the click track to be heard loud and clear. This is very important. This is because this is how you will then be able to line up all the tracks just by using this visual clue on the waveform inside Audacity. So you have them start the recording, play your video with the scores in Newzik, so they're able to follow the score and see you conduct, so you get more like the different nuances that they have to perform, etc. And you get them visual cues on how to perform, but they also have the click track to guide them. So the first bars, we can hear the click track. Then they plug their headphones in. So now the recorded audio will only get their instrumental vocal part, and you won't hear the click track from this point on. And this is why it's important in the click track to leave some empty space, because this way they have time to know the reference, plug the headphones, and get back to actually performing their part. Once they have this, they just send you the audio track, and you can get everything into Audacity or any DAW that you want to use, and you can line up the audio using the visual cues of the click, because all the recorded parts will have the same click, and you can use this as a reference. So you don't actually have to listen to the entire audio at this point. You just need to line up the different tracks, and this is basically your mix. You can go a bit further. You can use panning to get more clarity in the mix. My recommendation is just to leave some headroom. Just make sure you have headroom, because if you do, then you know the audio will not distort, and it doesn't really matter. You don't have to go really deep into audio editing. And maybe on the master track, on the end result, just add a little bit of reverb to glue everything together, and you will have an okay result that you can use. So it's not about getting a professional result, it's about getting something very quickly. Once you have this, you can upload this to the project in Newzik, and you can then make a dummy Zoom call where everybody is on mute, and you use the gallery view for this. So you signal to each student when they have to start the intake, the final mix down audio. And really at this stage, it doesn't really matter if they're like half a second late on one another or etc., because you're not getting any sound. This is what is not doable live on Zoom because of the different speed of internet connections that your students may have. If it's just for the video, it's fine to have some delay between the different people. So at this point, it really doesn't matter as long as you're only recording the video. And when you have both the audio, the final mixdown audio, and this dummy video, you just have to put the two together, and you have your virtual choir. And actually, for short pieces, it may be even faster to just do it once you have understood the concept than the time it took for me just to explain it. I tried this with my colleagues over at Newzik, and really in just 5 minutes we had the piece recorded. So it's actually very quick and easy to do. It's not so much music oriented as the other ideas, but I really wanted to share with you this little trick on how you can organize a virtual choir or orchestra. Some quick tips on how to make the result even better. You don't need to make all the audio recordings simultaneously for this. You can actually, if it's a larger piece with a larger ensemble, you can actually record and mix down different sections one after the other. And this will provide a better reference for the other sections, and will make for a more cohesive end result. And finally, if you do have video editing skills, you can actually ask your students to record a video, and you can then extract the sound from this video, mix it down, and then do the final video yourself without relying on Zoom, like on the gallery view. So this will make for a better result, for a more compelling result, because you are able to put forward a specific key at some point, etc. But it will take a lot more time, and it requires more skills to do. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you will have a good time on Newzik, and I wish you the best for the rest of this NAFME event. Have a nice day. Bye.